Namaste, everyone. Who is Krish Thapa? Um, a boy born in the Nepal, the Himalayas, the lap of the Annapurna mountain. Um, as a, as an early age child, in our traditional, the eldest son has to took over the traditional and ritual values and culture from generation to generation. So we call the puja, and I was born with the pujari responsibility, which is carried out 1,000 years ago with our ancestral, and yet again, here we are today, has to have responsibility to continue, and then not only for this life, but also for the lives 1,000 years, lives to come up. But at the same time, in Nepal, we have a huge culture over the 200 years of the bloodline we call Gurkha, the warrior, the fighters, yet again still and calm, able to hide and seek in the mountain of Nepal. So my grandfather was the Second World War. We lost him in Second World War during the service with the British Army. And my father, he tried many years to join in the Gurkha. Yet again, he couldn't succeed to join. And then before I even born, my parents had a dream to join the Gurkhas. So at the early age of 19, I joined in the Gurkha. And at that time, I feel like I have achieved not my dream, but actually my parents' dream. In the age of if you look around today as well, we don't have as an early age child or kids, we don't have our own choice what we made, because where we born, how we born, and what we do actually detect, and the decision is made by our parents. So as age 19, having been a pujari from my house and my tribe in Basantapur, Gorkhali Chap, in Tonhau, Gandaki, and then joined the Gurkhas. Then after the 6 years with the Gurkhas, then I joined the British SAS, and then after almost like 20 years serving with the British SAS, then my life has become into the thinking of who I am today. Really is my spiritual journey, the sadhu, or live like a yogi or yogi. So over the last 10 years plus, I've been trying to find out my own inner journey, inner mapping, and try to find out what is really within me. So in summary, I am a Krish Thapa, I'm a Gurkha, I am a SAS operator, and also I am a mindful, and then try to follow my ancestral pathway of ancient wisdom for modern living and then well-being. So, and also as part of my job, I've been very fortunate to climb Everest K2 and skied this 8,000 meter, and then became a first ever military mountain guide from the Gurkhas as well. So those are my short and the little describe who is the Krish Thapa, or the warrior monk. In fact, everyone, those who have a soul, is able to find themselves within so-called the monk. But having said that, in life, we cannot just become one thing without a roller coaster of our life. I think for me, is life has a pathway in terms, and that if we follow the pathway of life, and it's became like wave, which is up and down, or so-called roller coaster, like a mountain, like an ocean, like a wind, air, everything come in a wave. It's like our own heartbeat. Our own heart is the being alive mean the contraction and expansion from heart to the wave, how far we can go. But all we often resist, we often go against our own will. Actually, the way of life is that go with the will, whatever come in life. And if we have that up and down in life, then we hoping to find truly who we are within us, so-called soul finding, so-called monk, who is actually the inner journey of our within ourselves, which I call is the one we live in sensory world, the one we live in emotional world, and the other one is the one we live in a realized world, which is beyond our sensory and perception and understanding. So for me, is why I became the Yodha Sadhu is during my career with the Special Force and the Gurkhas around the globe, and I've been very fortunate and unfortunate to see the world from the extreme, the survival as a warrior part, and also actually everything within us, the warrior part, is driven by our own feeling and our own willing, which is our ability to conceptualize, ability to realize and reflect and deal with the situation, but yet again, all our thought and emotion come from within. So that's within understanding of the inner mapping, inner journey, so-called the monk started during the wartime in Iraq. So I think once you realize that whatever we aiming for, either in the business or the relationship or success in life, we see the object and desire and dream outside, but actually the real dream and desire come from within. But we don't really look into ourselves, but we look at the target and the mission to clarify, but actually clarification need to be done within. Once I realized that, then that's why I realized start going to the inner journey, inner mapping, which is so-called monk. It's all relatives to the individual, obviously, and the journey we are within. But it could be very hard and it could be very easy as well. But definitely a lot harder to go inside than go outside, because all our sensory-driven whole world, society, culture, education, Western education, everything is driven outside. But then when there is no clear pathway to find going within and finding your own soul, is often very hard because we never taught the process. Unlike if you were born in Nepal, in Himalayas, there is still very honored to be part of this, Matribhumi, the land of the God and land of the wisdom, where we still have a preservation of that, traditional and culture, if we look into it. But yet again, the today warriors, the youngster from Nepal, we don't value what we actually have in our land, the landscape, the like geology, the all the representation of the mountain and God, and which is directly collaboration and the effect of the Milky Way galaxy, I think, and also the angle of the whole wall, the place of the Himalayas in Nepal is very unique in so many ways. And I think that is very important for us to realize. But if you go by our sensory world, it's very hard to perceive. That's a very good question. So basically, whole educational system, the latest the scientific discovery and research found is everything to enhance our sense. Yeah, everything. We have cameras, we have a phone, we have night vision goggles, we have bulletproof everything is to protect and enhance our sensory. The importance of to tackle and to understand the our own well-being is the we have to follow our 1,000 years of ancient wisdom, which is all the ancient wisdom is try to teach us life before us and life after us, whereas all the modern science and everything is teaching us to live this life well. But actually, if you think about it, we are here today is not our gift. We are here today, the gift is from 1,000 years of 1,000 lives. And then that is the reason we're here today. Then our job is to preserve this same humanity and understanding, do well, so that 1,000 generations can come. But the whole educational system is only focusing on this life and do well this life. Then we are actually the cult in the link of life. So what that means is we always living the life in a dream and desire and the motivation for the one objective. But the real way of living the life for the youngster to find is what is the reason. Why I want to do the job I want to do. It's not that the mission or it's not that driven subjective or objective. What is the reason I want to do? I think if you flip the question and if you flip the answer you are looking, it's come down to deep down within us and our bloodline, our mother and parents. That's what actually the ancient wisdom is teaching us. The Pitri Puja, isn't it? We want to have offering close with our family, close with our brotherhood, close with our whatever you do. Actually, those are the reason we go outside, isn't it? That's the reason we actually go to the war, we go to the job, we go to the save the relation. It's not the relation, but actually what we left behind. So that's the one great finding for me is that they find the reason, not find. Of course, if you have a really good reason, then you will find the dream and you will have a dream to protect the reason why you are here. And also find in the circle of the reason, in the circle of the causation and the reflection where you are. We often miss our place where we are now, what we're doing, what's the reason, what's the purpose I'm here today. So if you have a real reason of that, I want to do this job, I want to save this relationship, I want to earn the money. Nothing wrong earning the money, but a lot of us were just driven to earn the money, but they don't know why they try to earn the money. That's what I'm saying is that define then where you are in that trajectory of the life of success or relationship or business. Draw the line, circle, okay, I'm here, so I need to keep going because these are the reasons. So in short term, find the reason, and not only the personal driven but generational driven for your ancestral, and then so that you can give the reason why for generation to come as well. Yeah, I think that is very controversial question, but if you really think about it, what is the peace and what is the power, isn't it? But it's other side of the coin. I think the same coin has two sides. Same earth has same 24 hours a day and night. Without day there will be no night. Without night there will be no day. So it's others, it's like I say, it's absolutely, I think, by only to realize to go on the peace you have to go on the war. Otherwise life will be just too much monotonous, and then you will not realize what is actually life. Like I say, whole universe, whole like the psychology of our effect and the thought is the production of the peace and war and conflict within us. In fact, there is about 40,000 thoughts every 24 hours happen within us, but only the 10% is became conscious. But then those conscious thought is happen depending on the ways in the wave, or could be the psychological, emotional, or the physical trauma. What is the military? First thing is the fundamental discipline of living with devotion. So that's actually what the service for the family you believe, for the country you believe, for the the fighting force to protect what we believe to be important for us. So for me, military is the basic, very important, fundamental to live well. Discipline every morning, wake up, make your bed, brush your teeth, and keep it clean, and then march. March not on your own pace, march and walking in a group, and march and understanding the way of the life. For me, it's military discipline teach so much about living well within, but we often don't look into what that has impact on us. So I think military, the day-to-day routine, day-to-day drills, day-to-day skills to harness the understanding the world, the situation, and how to overcome the war, how to overcome the enemies, and that will give me the understanding of our own perception and the different perspective of the world. In a way, that's what actually the inner teaching of our Eastern philosophy, ancient wisdom, is to that. How can we understand our own perception and but able to deal with the situation with the perspective view? I think for that to understand is we have to have the day-to-day routine and day-to-day well-discipline to control our 5 elements as a human body: the fire, the water, the air, space, and the earth element. I think this is what very important for me, to the importance of the mastering. But if we are not disciplined enough, if you are not routinely enough to master those elements, but we became sick, we became the dust, we became the basically losing the grip who we are. But the military does give you that fundamental about life, how to grasp those elements so that we can perform well outside. First of all, it's very hard, because we all live in and are driven by this life matter. Whole world is evolving with this life. We don't really look into the life before and the life after. But however, the ancient wisdom of Himalayas of Nepal is try to show us that we are here not only because of this life. It is we are here because of our multi-millions of directional evolution of human being. So, but that realization will not come as long as we are living in the sensory world. As long as we are living in this life, that realization doesn't come, because whole evolution of this life is to protect this life and this entity, what we believe today. So that means very hard to shifting from survival mode. Essentially, our sensory, our thoughts, our action is to protect and to survive today. It's nothing to do with tomorrow or yesterday. So to understand in that and then going against your own will, if that makes sense, going against your own human evolution is tough, So that means very hard. But we have to understand the life and death, what we are leaving the reason behind. What is the reason for death? हामी मर्न र बाँच्नको रिजन के हो? जबसम्म हामी बुझ्न सकिँदैन नि, त्यो भन्दा जबसम्म हामी जो मर्ने र जिउनीमा मात्रै बस्यो भने हामी यो लाइफसँग सम्बन्ध छौं. And that's why I think it's very tough to go beyond our own will. Go beyond our own human evolution, to understand that it doesn't come from outside. To understand that the human own will has to come from within, or from ourselves, or so-called the soul. So For that to be state of mind, to understand that conceptually the state of mind has to be more deeper and more dot, and that's what the pretty tough to go that state of mind. Yeah, so truly being human. I think we don't understand what is being human means in these days, because we often live by, taught by, show by someone else and someone else philosophy, someone else, so many books, so many driven and taught by someone else. But that if we are, as long as living in that state of mind, we are not really being conscious awareness human being. And that is also how close to the will, how close to the universal energy, how close to the truth knowledge. So there is two kinds of knowledge. So one is informative, which we can living the world by looking at the world using the sensory world. So for example, every day the sun obviously go rotate that day and night. That is the sensory, isn't it? Because when the sun rises, we say it's a day. When sunset is night. But that's one knowledge. But it's really the truth is sun neither raise nor shed, isn't it? Sun is always shining, always showing up. It's us is the moving around, and we lie. So basically, our own sensory lie to us. Oh, it's a day and night. But actually, sun is never to be raised, never to be shed. It's always rising, always burning within. The so important actually doesn't have the will to protect anything. It's just burning itself. When we burn within ourselves, so it doesn't really matter what happened outside. So without any expectation, without any, consequence effect. That's the one way of choosing the path of, enlightenment, always path of realizing the burning candle within us. If you have ability to connect that light and soul, doesn't really matter what happened outside. There's world is going crazy, situation is going crazy. So that's one way of living the peace and calm, but to connect with our own dhoni. हामीले dhoni भनिन्छ, नाथा भनिन्छ नि. Natha is dhoni, is that something come from the burning inside, and that change our five elements within us because of the heat that create the wave and sound. That is actually the dhoni or nath. Should be, yes, but only thing is not only less than 1% has that connection. Maybe all of them being from Nepal, from Himalayas of Nepal, we still have that understanding, the pure form of dhoni or pure form of understanding the truth. That is, the five elements come from the earth, isn't it? Come from this space, come from a time of this moment. But a lot of us is made of that five elements, but driven by something else. That's what the bigger the angle between who truly are five elements come from the truth of the evolution, the frequency and electricity, is that whatever we're dreaming of driven desire is something else. The bigger the gap, bigger the suffering. Yeah. So when we try to close down what actually adhyatmi or the two inner understanding of inner mapping, will try to close the gap, what is universal truth and what is our own well-being driven truth. The smaller the gap, smaller suffering. The day when it became one, whatever the outside in energy and frequency within us, that's where the enlightened being, that's where the no suffering, because they are just with the wave of the truth of five elements, base frequency and harmony, in light with the universal frequency. I think first and foremost is the what I call is easy win mindset. What that means is, first thing everyone need to understand their first thought of the day. Essentially, the first thought is the last thought of the yesterday. So if you can have that mind shift a little bit, so that what that does is, rather than when we become first wake up, we have a thought and we run with that thought. Then when you start reflecting and understanding that thought within you, So all your energy perceived within you. So we are not using any energy. But it is still very important to work, to earn, to respect, to live in the world. But it's more than that, it's understand our own true, our own thoughts. I think today world is we don't realize, we don't reflect so much thing happen within us because we run away with the vision and dream what that been. But actually the dream and desire has to be truth and find the reason why that thought important to act on, important to move on. So I think that's probably the one thing I really like to share is this first episode is that have you ever aware and ask the question why you wake up and why you are act on without thinking, but just bring that little awareness. Okay, I'm waking up, I'm acting today because I want to do something change, and these are the reason. Then I think world will be better, and most importantly, the well-being of that person and being human come a little bit closer. Absolutely. Because what is really warrior monk try to share with my own understanding is that the world we're living is challenging. The world we're living is conflict, confusion, war everywhere. So does within us. So for us to understand, we need to challenge outside and inside. And then once you challenge the world, but just don't just run away what you are consequence, but ability to deal within with the monk philosophy, ability to ask the question, change the perception, am I doing on the right path? By, ability to reflect and realize we have to go on the war. We have to earn living. We have to protect what you are valued for. But just don't do that whole life, but ability to construct back and then reevaluate, recharge, and am I in the right things? That's what at the moment the world is just running away with just the warrior part, try to show up, try to be viral, try to do well, which is good, but we are not coming back and reflecting, realizing within the monk, within our own realization and action question. And if you can slightly lesser what we are fighting for and more sort of bringing a little bit more inner world, then what can we do is what you are fighting for became a lot more clear. What you are dream, you want to earn money, you want to success in business, you want to do well in relationship, that became more effective and powerful. I think that's what the science, that's what the message about the warrior monk is. We are not saying don't go on money. We're not saying don't go on the world. We're not saying don't protect what you believe for protect, but have even more understanding of inner self with the realization and more thoughtful meditation, pray in the morning so that you will become more stronger. I think that's the message. Yes, absolutely. On my left side of the table is everything to today most advanced scientific protection against the warrior. And then on my right side is all the ancient wisdom of the Himalayas of Nepal to realize the sound, the frequency, everything. So in here, these are all the protection, most advanced technology whenever we go to the war. Where you have a warrior part, we are not dumb to go could die, but we are there to protect, to show the most strong physically, emotionally, and protect with the most advanced warrior, being a human conscious awareness. And this is my beloved, UK Special Force SAS, which I've been very honored to part of the service and the most elite #1 force in the world. And then obviously this is we call OSIA, which is again surviving in cutting the grass, giving to animals, cow, and of course, national animals. There's so much science behind the cow. And then the word Gurkha, cow, is completely connected with the cow. And then the Goraksha, to protect the humanities actually. And now we're going to we call the Mujura. This sound is the most highly pitched like a woman. Women have a very highly pitched that has a more, attraction in our on our Sahasrara chakra, which is above the above our head. And of course, this is the sound. Re, si. Re is the sound, si is who we can hear the sound. So that is also one very important knowledge. Singing bowl is it made of panchadhatu, right? It is all handmade, and this is the only sound. It literally what sounds is the frequency of intensity of the frequency travel in a wave, like a hot wave. But the only singing bowl sound which is travel in sound and the wave as a one. Normally, you'll come to the wave and sound later, but the singing bowl is the one has that ability to come together. That's how it penetrates our muscle and our heart or the throat or the heart chakras. That's what actually sound. This is believed to be founded from Himalayas of Nepal 1,000 years ago by the rishis, and then that's definitely very useful for our realization. And also another other thing is when you are hearing, when you are listening, it's happening now. You cannot listen something yesterday, you cannot listen tomorrow. It has to be now. Hence, the temple, monastery, church, or mosques, everything has a bell to connect you to into that moment, because you are hearing. The minute you are hearing our ear activation, the minute you are bringing our attention and we are into the moment. And when you have a seeing, when you have a hearing, when you have a feeling of movement and state of mind change suddenly, hence the meditation, hence the bring you into the memoryless. Because whenever we're using the one sense, one moment, that became memory and became trauma, sad or happiness. But whenever you're using the multi-sense, that became healing. So that's another meaning of the, like going to the temple, beautiful, because it's wow. Wow mean we connect with our emotional feeling as a one, so that we are state of moment and state of well-being as well.